The upcoming ANC Youth League conference appears to be hanging in the balance, given some of the administrative issues, as we've been hearing this afternoon. There are also issues with the Eastern Cape as well, where the Secretary General of the party said it was unauthorized and patently irregular. Now, this was, of course, their conference that they would have held, and things don't seem to be going okay in the Free State as well as the Western Cape. Let's get an update now from our politics reporter, Samkele Maseko, who is joining us live now, just to get a sense of whether or not things are unfolding as planned. Samkele, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Let's start talking about whether or not the registration issues have eventually been addressed, or is it still a snag?
Well, at this point in time, Bongiwa, when we left the registration venue, delegates were again starting to register as delegates for this 26th National Congress of the ANC Youth League after earlier this morning some delegates stormed the registration venue. In fact, that hampered and tampered the registration venue, which would have affected the credentials of the Congress. Thus, they had to halt it. They only resumed with registration at about 4:30 this afternoon. But I'm going to bring in Mr. Ngudla, who is part of the ANC's Youth League's NYTT, just to speak on the essence of the registration. Mr. Ngudla, just the essence of the registration. Why did you halt the registration earlier on this morning? What's happening with that registration process as we speak right now?
Thanks, Samkele. I think the issue about the registration is that there were few people that would have entered into the registration venue and stormed it. Against what was put as protocol. And you would know that in the ANC Youth League conferences or congresses, there's always those people who want to come and disrupt congresses of the ANC Youth League. So I think it's one of the elements that are there. But we've since dealt with those particular elements. We've removed them into the venue. The registration is now resuming smoothly. Regions and provinces have started to come in properly, the way in which the NYTT would have adopted that it's going to be running the process of registration. I think all provinces had done pre-registrations. The issue now is that in the registration process, you only produce your identification and subsequently ensure that you enter and take your own tag from your own province, from your own region, from your own branch, because these are branch delegates. And it can't be that if you were not elected in a branch, you just come at Nazareth because you have heard that there is going to be a Congress of the ANC Youth League.
On the issue of the credentials of this Congress, the Eastern Cape held a Congress. It's being disputed by the NYTT, some members of the NYTT, also being disputed by the SG of the ANC. What happened in your home province, which is seemingly endorsing your opponents as opposed to endorsing you?
No, Samkele, there was never a Congress in the Eastern Cape. I think it was just a gathering of people you would see. It's a gathering of young people. They might have had a party, because that's what it was. It was a party of young people in the province of the Eastern Cape. Branch delegates of the Eastern Cape were in Orient Theatre doing pre-registration at the period where there was a party in Komani there. It's people that had a party. We can't call that a Congress. I mean, the ANC, with all measures available in the organization, you can't say you are in a Congress of the Youth League that does not have a Congress audit certificate, a Congress certificate. You know, in the ANC Youth League, you go to the branch, you get elected, you become a delegate into a Congress that has a Congress certificate. That one did not have Congress certificate, number one. Number two, did not have any deployee of the ANC Youth League in the Eastern Cape from the National Executive Committee or National Youth Task Team. So what is that? The NYTT coordinator would have told those comrades that, that Congress you are sitting is not sanctioned as per the Constitution guidelines and the terms of reference that establishes them.
But Xola Nqola, the convener of the ANC Youth League, was there.
I think Comrade Xola would have went rogue in this regard, because he knows, and we assume he knows. It's a very big responsibility to be a convener of the ANC Youth League in our days. He has never been a convener of the National Youth Task Team or a leader in that particular level. However, I think they have misled the comrade because he knows by all means or all organizational measures, if I may put it, there can't be a Congress of that sort. There can't be a Congress called in Komani in that particular way. You don't just call all young people who are roaming in the streets and say, come, we have a Congress of the ANC Youth League. No, that's not how this organization functions. You become a branch delegate. You are elected in a branch, and then you go to a Congress as per the guidelines.
Will this affect the adoption of the credentials of this Congress?
No, the credentials of the Congress will run smoothly. Those elements that they were in command can never enter the National Conference. I'm part of the Congress Preparatory Committee. I'm part of the National Youth Task Team Working Committee. We are going now in a meeting of the National Youth Task Team, which is NYTT meeting, to correct all the wrongs that Comrade Paula and few NYTT members would have committed in that so-called bogus conference in the Eastern Cape. So the Eastern Cape is here with its delegates, with all other provinces, making registration there at Nazareth, at UNISA Convention Center. After that, they will make their way into Nazareth, and the Congress will proceed without any disruption.
Where is the audit report for this National Congress? Because we've been accused as the NYTT of running away with the audit report, in particular the coordinator and the deputy coordinator, Colin Malachi.
Samkele, an audit report becomes an audit report of regions. In the ANC Youth League and in the ANC, we have got about 53 regions, which all of them have got audit reports as we speak. So those audit reports combined, they form what you call a National Congress audit report or credentials. So because these are branch delegates, and the constitution of the ANC Youth League is very clear, 90% of those delegates must be coming from branches, and 10% it be NYTT members, PEC members, and REC in the case where PECs are not there. We take a proportion of RECs because PCPCs were very clear in our guidelines. They are not legitimate structures of the ANC Youth League and therefore cannot be voting delegates into the National Congress of the ANC Youth League. So there is no issue here about the audit. Audit reports were issued out into all regions, regional secretaries. That's why you don't see regional secretaries in those bogus congresses. All about 6 regional secretaries in the Eastern Cape were in the pre-registration. How do you go to a bogus congress now with people that have no audit? So the issue that there was a conference in the Eastern Cape, that's why the Secretary General of the ANC, who's a former Secretary General of the ANC Youth League and a former president, he knows this organization. He told them, but comrades, how do you say you are sitting a Congress when there is no audit report, when there is nothing, no NYTT member? So who is going to officiate you? So people who are political tourists arrived there.
Are you a proxy of Mduduzi Manana and Fikile Mbalula and Stellantabini Abrahams, as opposed to those who may be seen as proxies of Oscar Mabuyane in Apiwe going towards the 2027 conference of the ANC?
Those who know me in all the youth movement structures, they know I'm no proxy of anyone. I'm an activist of the ANC Youth League. I've been an activist of almost all the youth movement structures. So I can't be a proxy now because young people are saying I must be elected. Why now I must be attached to individuals? I've interacted with many leaders of the ANC. The issue is that I respect the process of the organization. Those who don't respect the process, they start insulting leaders of the ANC and think that that's radicalism.
In 30 seconds, who will close this conference?
The person who's going to close this Congress is Comrade Colin Malachi, who has received maximum support from branches all over the country of the ANC Youth League.
Thank you very much. That is Ngudle, who is contesting for the position of Secretary General of the ANC Youth League. They are saying that they are going to sit in the NYTT meeting, thrash out some of the issues pertaining to their credentials and the issue of the Eastern Cape Conference. There have been suspensions left, right, and center on both factions, those supporting Apiwe Mkagelwa and those supporting Colin Malachi. The Western Cape suspending its convener. The Free State regions, Fezile Tabi, you go to Lucholapudo, you go to Mangaung, suspensions left, right, and center.